corner for a called strike one. First pitch at 7:37. The pitch from De Los Santos fouled straight back at the screen. And we welcome you in if you're just joining us. We had some connection issues to begin the broadcast. 0-2 on Brendan Dadson. Up is De Los Santos. Here's the pitch. Breaking ball, just misses for ball one. Here's the 1-0. That's outside. De Los Santos, of course, a very fast worker out there on the mound. Yep. We talked about it a little bit, I think, last week in his previous start against Kitchener, but he works very quickly out there.
Well, he sure does, and I don't think broadcasters are going to have too much of a problem with that. Faster games, that's for sure. I don't think fans will either.
That ball's fouled straight back by Keller.
And one thing too, it helps the defense. And maybe that's sort of an old school take. Oh, well, a fast pitcher helps the defense because it keeps them focused. But I do think there is something to that, Dylan.
Absolutely, it keeps them ready to go and on their toes, so they are ready to get moving on every pitch. De Los Santos takes a couple of steps off the mound this time, though, and now gathers his thoughts. 2-1. Here's the pitch to Keller. And that's in there for strike two. A similar pitch to the first pitch from De Los Santos in this at-bat. This time he gets the call.
And a great job there to get right back in that at-bat. 3-1, definitely a bit of a tough situation. You'd have to throw a strike. In this case, a lot better for Pedro.
The 2-2 home, that goes over the head of Keller. And if you recall, in his previous start against Welland, which was 2 starts ago now for Pedro De Los Santos, I believe he hit 3 batters as well in that game. So didn't quite have the command he'd like.
Command's certainly an issue, but that's something that Pedro can certainly work to fix and get better at as we go through the season.
Dirt, and it'll be ball 4 to Keller, so he is aboard now with a 1-out walk, and the Jackfish have a base runner here in the first inning.
Well, and just like we talked about, Pedro's got to find a way to limit those walks, but at the same time, you also don't want him leaving meatballs in the middle of the zone, right? And so there's certainly a balance there. Now, I think still early on the first inning here, Pedro De Los Santos could still be potentially finding his grip, trying to find kind of his whole delivery. And I think as we go throughout this game, it'll be interesting to see how that develops. Yeah,
we'll see if he's able to find that release point and everything and get going in this one. That brings up Dane Toffland, who's had an incredible start to the year, hitting .500, 11 for 22. He'll take a first pitch strike from De Los Santos, and the count is now no balls and 1 strike. De Los Santos comes set, takes a look over at Keller at first. Here's the pitch. Toffland swings through that one. 0-2.
There you go. That's the kind of stuff that De Los Santos is capable of throwing on a consistent basis and gets ahead here 0-2. Much needed after that walk.
Now, the Jackfish took on Christian Hawk, who we saw a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I should say, with Kitchener. He's a very different pitcher than De Los Santos, who's kind of slow with the stuff. Here's the 0-2. Toffland on the ground. Going to be a tough play to turn 2 on, so Artiega will go to first. Johnson makes the play, and that'll be the second out of the inning.
Well, and that's a really smart play. Right, I mean, you could try to go to second right there, but that's just, that's the inner clock working, thinking, you know what, I'd rather just take the guaranteed out at first. Smart play there.
Good play there by Carlos Artiega. That'll bring up Cole Warkin, who played his first game with the Jackfish in last night's ball game. The pitch is a called strike 1 on the outside corner.
Okay.
De Los Santos looks in, comes set. Warkin recently acquired by the Jackfish. That misses outside for ball 1.
Yeah, Warkin, one of the couple new additions, actually, to the Jackfish. He's Saskatchewan native and played at Erskine College in South Carolina. Had a 976 OPS down there.
Very good OPS. That's lined right back up the middle, but softly. McQueen makes the play by second base, throws it over to first, and the side is retired. So despite the 1-out walk in the first inning, De Los Santos gets out of it unscathed. Welcome back to Labatt Park as we get you ready for the bottom of the first inning. Now, I know some of you may not have seen because of our connection issues, but here is the London Majors lineup for the ball game today. Chris McQueen leads off at second base. He'll be followed by Carlos Artiega at third, batting second. Cleveland Brownlee DHs and bats third. Byron Reichstein in right field batting cleanup. Hayden Jaco catches and bats fifth. Julian Johnson batting sixth at first base. Humberto Ruiz in left field batting seventh. Adam Filmon in center field batting eighth. And Keith Candell batting ninth at shortstop. Here's the Welland Jackfish lineup for today's ball game. You saw Brendan Dadson lead off. Griffin Keller bats second. Dane Toffland and Cole Wark in the top four. And the second inning will be started by Matt Hildebrandt, the DH. Dennis Day Banning, the right fielder. Andrew Mercier, the first baseman. Robert Mackey, the second baseman. And Eric Marriott, the center fielder.
And we certainly appreciate your support here with the London Majors. You know, of course, we had some technical difficulties off the top, but we are good to go now, rolling here. And we're glad that you're joining us tonight for what should be a really good evening of baseball here. You know, we talked a little bit about in the pregame and obviously during that first inning as well. Two motivated teams, aren't they, Dylan?
They sure are, both coming off two straight losses. They'll look to rebound into the win column today. Rich Carente on the mound for the Welland Jackfish. He is an IBL veteran. He's been around a long time, pitching for Welland in today's ball game. So Chris McQueen will lead things off for the Majors against Carente, a lefty versus lefty matchup to get us going. Carente's last outing versus the Majors was in the IBL playoffs last year in Game 4 at Labatt Park, the only game the Majors won in that series. He came in relief for Euclides Layer, who got roughed up a little bit in that outing. Carente looks in at the catcher and now digs in on the mound as McQueen digs in at the plate. Into the windup is Carente. Here's his first pitch of the ball game. It's going to get the inside corner for strike one.
And Chris McQueen, I mean, he's had a fantastic start to this season, hasn't he, Dylan? You know, doing a great job, whether it be at the top of the lineup or at the bottom. Really effective at getting on base.
Squares around a bunt there, as he will so often do, and takes a ball. It's 1-1. McQueen, a phenomenal bunter, probably the best on the Majors. And that's a skill that not a lot of people have anymore as baseball moves away from the bunt, but he's still able to lay one down if need be. Hits that one softly on the ground, and I think it hit his foot. No call as the first base umpire will call that one a foul ball. The home plate umpire didn't make a call despite seeing McQueen rolling in pain on the ground.
Yeah, he fouls that on what would appear to be a ankle or a foot perhaps. It looks like he's in some pain, but he's walking off now.
So the count will move to 1 ball and 2 strikes now on McQueen.
We see a lot of those. Sorry, Dylan. We see a lot of those shin guards, sort of those protection aspects, especially in the big leagues in baseball. But it doesn't appear to McQueen is wearing any right now.
You know, it could be a comfort thing for a lot of guys. They don't like wearing it. The 1-2 from Carente. McQueen drives that one down the right field line, hooking towards the foul pole in foul territory, chasing after it, and that will get fouled as Dave Benning couldn't track it down. It flew out of play, and the count will remain at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Oh, he took that one for a ride, didn't he? I mean, the crowd certainly reacted to that one. And just pulls it past the foul line there.
McQueen digs in, trying again on 1-2 here. Carente has the sign, goes into the windup. Here's the pitch. McQueen in the air, center field. Now stepping back is Marriott. He'll move back and make the catch for the first out of the first inning.
Well, you know what, good for McQueen there to battle right after hitting that foul ball off, whether it was his foot, ankle, leg, whatever it was. He must have been in some pain there. And he lifted 2 balls. One of them was almost gone, right? Almost into the bushes out and right, and then that one into center field.
Chris McQueen, not necessarily known for his power, but he certainly gave that foul ball a ride to right field. As Carlos Artiega will step into the batter's box, he's had some success against Rich Carente in the past.
Well, yeah, he sure has. I mean, in just 13 at-bats, he's got 6 hits, good for a .462 average here.
That one will miss outside to Artiega for ball 1. Into the windup is Carente, the 1-0. Artiega lines that one into left field, and the Majors have their first hit of the ball game as Artiega sends a single into left.
Well, and he adds to his great career numbers against Carente, and it makes sense as to why manager Rupe Chandra had him hitting so high up in the order in this one.
Arteaga adds on to those totals, and it can be a comfort thing against the lefty Corrente. He's not exactly a super hard thrower by IBL standards, and maybe that's what Arteaga prefers. He's certainly comfortable when it comes to that matchup as Cleveland Brownlee digs into the batter's box for his first at-bat against Corrente. No stranger to Rich Corrente, and he's had some success as well.
Well, it's interesting, right? He's got a 240 average career-wise against Corrente, 6 hits, 4 of which are home runs.
Yeah, so the power has been a big aspect of Cleveland's game throughout his time in the IBL, but especially in previous numbers against Rich Corrente. He's got a base runner on now, and Carlos likes to run. A slide step a little bit, and that pitch misses outside to Cleveland Brownlee for ball 1.
A good situation here for the majors early on, right? You get a speed threat at first, you get power hitter, one of your best hitters in your lineup at the plate against a guy who he's hit really well.
Here's the pitch from Corrente. Cleveland hits that one hard on the ground to third base, bobbled by Tofflin. He's only got one play, it's to first. The throw is caught in time by Mercier over at first base, and that will be the second out, but Cleveland hit that ball hard and nearly got on.
Yeah, really good job there defensively, you know, to after that bobble, just to regroup, not worry about the runner going to second, and fire it over to first. Excellent job.
Good recovery there from Tofflin, as that'll bring up Byron Reichstein, who's had a hot start to this season, hitting .435 in this campaign. Reichstein digs in against Corrente for the first time in the ballgame.
Yeah, Reichstein, a fantastic start to this season as well, hitting .435 out the gate here.
The pitch from Corrente is on the inside corner for a called strike 1. Here is the pitch from Corrente, the 0-1. Byron hits that one on the ground and foul. 0-2. Some planes fly by now over Labatt Park, it seems.
Too bad we don't have a camera for that. We actually can't see it here from the press box, but we can sure hear it, can't we?
Yes, we can, even through our headsets. 2 outs, 2 strikes now on Byron Reichstein. Pivotal pitch coming up for Rich Corrente with a runner in scoring position in Arteaga. Here's the offering. Breaking as bad as Byron. It's slowly hit over to second base. Going to be a tough play. The throw is not in time. It's dropped by Mercier at first. Mackey came in, tried to make a great play. Mercier bobbled the throw over at first base, and that will allow the inning to continue.
Some luck, perhaps, but also some really good base running there as well, right? Not giving up on the ground ball even after the broken bat. Great effort, right? And that's why coaches will always tell you, hustle out that play to first, right?
That's why, right? As Mercier drops that throw. Wasn't in the dirt or anything. It seemed like a pretty good throw. Maybe he overstretched, and that caused him to drop the ball. As Hayden Jaco digs in now with runners at the corners and 2 outs. It's a big spot for him against Corrente. A chance to do some early damage if you're the majors. Julian Johnson waits on deck. Corrente comes set out there on the mound. Here's the pitch. Jaco lines that one hard to shortstop. Nice play over there by Dadson, and he'll go to second the short way to retire the side. Jaco hit that one hard, but gets nothing to show for it.
Yeah, great opportunity there for Jaco, but excellent play by Dadson. And what could have been potentially a really dangerous inning, a chance for the majors to potentially come through and get on top here early on, to no avail.
So we head to the top of the second here at Labatt Park. No score. Majors get a hit and a couple of base runners, but nothing to show for it as we're at 0-0 here at Labatt. Welcome back to beautiful Labatt Memorial Park as we get you set for the second inning between the London Majors and the Welland Jackfish. No score. Matt Hildebrandt will lead things off for Welland. He'll be followed by Dennis Day Benning and the Londoner, Andrew Mercier, due up here in this inning. Hildebrandt has had a great start to his season. He's hitting over 300. He's got a couple of home runs, so he's been hot to start the year for Welland as De Los Santos gets ready to face him. Now, he hit Hildebrandt 2 times in his outing in Welland. Obviously, De Los Santos didn't have command in that outing. We've talked about it already. We'll see what his first pitch is to Hildebrandt. That's on the inside corner for strike 1. It seems that the game plan for the Majors against Hildebrandt, with the way that De Los Santos has thrown, is that they're trying to bust him in, not allowing him to get his arms extended, I should say, as that ball misses up and in now to Hildebrandt. Count moves to 1 ball and 1 strike. But busting him inside ended up costing them when De Los Santos didn't have that command. Here's the pitch. Hildebrandt reaches, lines it to left field. Ruiz will make the catch, and that will be the first out of the inning. Hildebrandt hit it hard, but he hit it right at the left fielder, Humberto Ruiz.
Certainly some luck there, right, Dylan? But, like we talked about, right, Pedro now throwing some more strikes, right, getting that ball in there. Hey, challenge the hitter. You got good stuff. Why not make him have to, earn his trip to first?
Now, De Los Santos is a guy who relies a lot on movement, and that can cost him at times if he doesn't have good grip of that ball. But so far, he's looked good as Dennis Day Benning digs in and fouls that one a long way. 0-1 now. Sounds like a nice catch was either made or a ball was dropped out there. I couldn't really tell. De Los Santos into the windup, the 0-1. That's going to miss high. Now, I can think of somebody who wouldn't miss a foul ball if it was hit to them on the right side.
Who's that?
I'm looking at him.
Well, I need a couple bounces first.
That pitch is swung on and missed by Dennis Day Benning. 1 ball and 2 strikes now with 1 out in the second inning. Here's the pitch. That just misses, and it'll move to 2 balls and 2 strikes now on Day Benning.
That looked like a good pitch, just didn't quite get the corner there, but great opportunity here to quickly get 2 outs in this one.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out as the pitch to Dennis Day Benning on its way. And he will swing through that one for strike 3. So De Los Santos with another strikeout, and now we've got 2 away in the second inning.
And good job there by Pedro, right? Pedro De Los Santos getting right back after the 1-2 ball, getting right back in the zone. Again, challenging the hitter. I just talked about it, right? One was a flyout, but now you get the strikeout as well. Really good stuff by Pedro De Los Santos, keeping the ball in the zone in this inning so far.
That'll bring up Andrew Mercier, still searching for his first hit of this young campaign. The pitch from De Los Santos on its way. Mercier takes that one up and outside for ball 1. Mercier 0 for 9 so far for the Welland Jackfish. He's been splitting his duties as DH, catcher, and first baseman. Looks like he's got something in his eye now as he steps out of the batter's box. De Los Santos into the windup. Here's the 1-0 on its way to Mercier. He hits that one on the ground down the third base line, but just foul. And the count will even up at 1-1 now. Here's the 1-1 on its way from De Los Santos from the windup. Mercier thought about it, didn't go after it, and the count moves to 2.
By Mercier. Get ahead in the count now with 2 out.
The 2-1 from De Los Santos. Mercier hits that one on a line to center field. Filmon moving in. Is he going to get there? He dives, and he makes the catch. What a play by Adam Filmon in center field, ranging and diving to make that grab and get the Majors out of the inning.
What a great grab. Great reaction to that, too. He got a great first jump, ran forward. And that was one of the things about Filmon that was touted, in coming to London, is his defense. Also his leadership in center field. Great job there. He lost the hat, lost some of the accessories, but he makes the catch, the most important part of that whole play.
Great play there by Filmon as we head to break, still with no score from Labatt Park. Labatt Park is such a gorgeous place to be on a Friday night as you get a look at the skyline there and the beauty of the park here that we have in downtown London. It's a gem of the city. You can now tour Labatt Park. Those tours are available to take any day of the week during the day, and kids get in free, I believe. It's very cheap, and it's an enjoyable experience. Sounds like there's a lot to learn from those tours.
Not sure. I mean, there's so much to learn at a park like this, right? Even, and you made a reference to me catching foul balls out in the stands. During that assignment, I did so much research, and I had so many stories I couldn't even get to because there is so much history. So get on out here, get on a tour, guaranteed to learn multiple new things.
Absolutely beautiful ballpark, and it's been around for a very long time. As Julian Johnson steps into the batter's box and takes ball one just outside. So 1-0 now to start the second inning from Rich Corrente. Here's the pitch. Johnson takes that one low. 2 balls and no strikes to Julian.
On Johnson, here's a guy who's been all over the world to play baseball. He played in the Czech Republic, played in Japan.
Here's the pitch. Johnson hits that one foul. 2 balls and no strikes. Of course, spent some time with the Toronto Maple Leafs earlier on in his career, and now, as you mentioned, venturing across the world to play baseball.
You certainly have to have a clear passion for it, right, and a clear motivation. And even when he was a teenager, he went down to Florida, right? For college, he was in Tennessee. I mean, he's really been all over the place.
That pitch will miss outside to Johnson, so the count moves to 3-1 now.
Nice hitter's count here for Johnson with leading off the inning. Good chance here to set the table.
3 balls, 1 strike. The pitch from Corrente on its way. Johnson will take that one in there for strike 2.
Yeah, it's a really nice pitch there by Corrente. 3-1, you got to throw something. He throws a nice one to catch the corner.
Here's the 3-2 home to Johnson. He lines that one hard to center field. Moving back on it is Marriott, but he will be right there to make the play. So 1 gone now, despite the fact that Johnson hit that one hard.
Yeah, and that's the luck of the game sometimes, right? You might hammer one, you might think you've hit it really well, and you just end up hitting it right to the outfielder. That's baseball. In fact, Welland had a play like that earlier on in the game as well to the left fielder.
Bit of bad luck for both sides so far in this one, as that'll bring up Humberto Ruiz, the left fielder, who caught that line drive that we were just talking about a moment ago. Corrente looks in. Ruiz drives that one to left field and deep. Moving back on it, to the warning track, to the wall. Goodbye, baseball. Humberto Ruiz hits one out of the ballpark, and the Majors have a 1-0 lead here in the second inning.
Well, he got his pitch, didn't he, Dylan? And he sure didn't miss it. That one was pretty much a no-doubter right off the bat, right into the bushes out there in left field. That thing was hammered.
Humberto Ruiz, not known for his power, but I saw him in BP, and I said something to pitching coach and third base coach Brent Wales. I was like, wow, Humberto's got some pop this year. And sure enough, in his first at-bat of the ball game, he drives one out of the ballpark as Adam Philmon steps up to the plate and takes the first pitch on the outside corner. Looked to be a little bit outside, but Corrente gets the call. The 0-1. That's going to miss outside. Count moves to 1 ball and 1 strike now.
Yeah, well, power, certainly the name of the game for the Majors this season, and it continues here. If you're getting that contribution from a guy like Ruiz.
Philmon swings and fouls that one straight back as Ruiz contributes defensively with his speed and on the base paths. He steals a lot of bases, and now with his power that he just showed there as he drove one out of the ballpark. The 1-2 from Corrente. That's going to miss outside to Philmon. Count moves to 2 balls and 2 strikes now.
And I got to say, too, I mean, both these pitchers, they have one thing in common. They work really, really fast.
Yes, they do. I picked up on that from Corrente so far in this ball game as well. The 2-2 is going to be a called strike 3, and Philmon doesn't like it. Philmon, a tall outfielder, thought that was low, probably inside as well. But Corrente gets that call, and it'll be the second out of the second inning.
Oh, and a good AB there from Corrente. Right, using all different areas of the plate, and ultimately that play gets Philmon looking, the number 8 hitter, and that'll be the number 9 hitter, Keith Candell, coming up.
So Candell steps up. He's been in a bit of a funk lately. He doesn't have a hit since the game against the Welland Jackfish at Welland Stadium. We'll see if playing this team again can ignite that bat once more as that pitch misses. He did have a 3-walk game against the Brantford Red Sox when the Majors traveled to Brantford. Corrente into the windup. Here's the 1-0 to Candell. That's going to miss outside as well. 2 balls and no strikes. Corners are in, protecting against the bunt. The 2-0 from Candell is right there for strike one. 2 balls and 1 strike. Down the Majors' number 9 hitter.
Well, I was just going to say that, Dylan. Corners are really in, even with 2 out.
Here's the pitch to Candell. That misses outside. The Majors, they're willing to bunt no matter the situation. 2 out, 2 strikes. They'll do it if they think they have a shot to get on. I doubt Candell does with the 2 guys busting in from the corners, Toffland and Mercier. The pitch from Carente. Candell swings away and fouls that one straight back. I doubt that we will see the corners in now with 2 strikes and 2 outs. Toffland and Mercier both back up now. The full count offering from Carente to Candell. Called. Strike 3 at the belt, and that's going to be the 3rd out of the 2nd inning. So we're through 2 complete here at Labatt Park. The Majors lead on the strength of a Humberto Ruiz home run. It's 1-0. Welcome back to Labatt Park as the Majors lead the Jackfish 1-0. Robert Mackey will lead off the top of the 3rd inning for Welland against Pedro de los Santos. De los Santos moves into the windup. Here's the first pitch to Mackey. It's going to be right there for strike 1. We've seen the strike zone kind of get bigger as the game has gone on, it seems, Jackson.
Well, a couple of the Majors certainly haven't liked some of their calls so far, and that'll be an ongoing story throughout the game. We'll see how it develops. We'll see how the consistency is. Will tempers boil over depending on maybe the context of the game as well.
1-1 now to Mackey. Here's the pitch. He hits that one on the ground to first base. Johnson makes the play, and he'll go over to the bag, touch it for the 1st out. Going back to the umpiring in the strike zone, you can have a zone that's disliked, but as long as you're consistent, I think that's the key to being liked by players.
Well, and that's at least they know what to expect, especially early on. They figure it out. Okay, you know, the fastball low and away, he's going to call that, and he's going to be consistent about it. But if he gives you one call and not the other, then maybe you do feel you have a reason to be a little frustrated.
Absolutely. As De Los Santos looks in, here's the first pitch. That's going to be right there to Eric Marriott, the center fielder, for a called strike 1. The 0-1 to Marriott, that's going to be in there as well for a called strike 2, and Marriott's thinking that's outside as well, asking if that's as far as he's going to go, it seems.
Yeah, we see both teams having issues with the strike zone early on.
It's that consistency we talk about. As long as it's going both ways for the whole game, players can deal with it. That's on the ground to second base. McQueen moves in, makes the play, and throws it over to first for the 2nd out of this 3rd inning. So De Los Santos makes quick work of the 8 and 9 batters as the lineup flips over back to the top.
Yeah, real nice efficient work here by Pedro de los Santos. Not allowing a hit so far, right, through the first 9 batters. And we'll see now, 2nd time through the order.
We'll see if things change. We hear so much about the 2nd time, the 3rd time through the order now. When we talk about major league pitchers, we'll see if that has an impact on how the Jackfish attack De Los Santos. Brendan Dadson steps in for the 2nd time in the ball game. That is fouled off in his last at-bat. Dadson struck out swinging on just 3 pitches to start the ball game. De Los Santos into the windup, the 0-1. Swing and a miss on a great breaking ball. 0-2 now.
Wow, he's got it working for him right now, doesn't he, Dylan? He's just firing strikes in there. Walk certainly, command right now certainly not an issue for him, at least in this inning.
Absolutely. 1 walk so far in the ball game. Dadson not tempted by that pitch as he will face more than 3 pitches in this at-bat. Count moves to 1-2. Dadson enjoyed great success in his first year in the IBL last year, Jackson.
Sure did. Rookie of the year, in fact, with the Jackfish.
2019, I should say, 2 years ago now, as that pitch drops in there, but it misses. It'll be ball 2. Phil Mon thought that was strike 3. A lot of people on the diamond thought that was strike 3, Jackson, including De Los Santos, but now has to work in a 2-2 count to Dadson. Into the windup is De Los Santos. The 2-2 on its way. Dadson hits that one in the air and shallow. Humberto Ruiz comes in and makes the play to retire the side. We're through 2.5 at Labatt Park. The Majors lead 1-0. Welcome back to Majors Baseball on Majors TV. My name is Dylan Baker, joined beside me Jackson Farough, and so far I think it's been a good start for the Majors against the Jackfish.
Pitching's been excellent so far. Pedro De Los Santos, we talked about his last time out, 8 innings against Kitchener, and now he's delivering again, once again, especially early on, at least first time through the lineup. We just talked about last inning how quickly those things can change, and especially with a guy who is prone to allowing a walk or two, those things can change very quickly. An inning can get on you fast, but if he can keep the runners off the bases, right, keep them clean, keep throwing those strikes like he did last inning, he has a chance to have a fantastic outing here and preserve this London lead.
Absolutely. We'll see if he's able to do that next time he comes out to work in the 4th inning. For now, it's Chris McQueen, the leadoff man, taking on Rich Carente for the 2nd time. The Majors managed 2 hits the first time through the order. It was a single for Carlos Artiega and then a home run for Humberto Ruiz. McQueen, for his part, I believe he flew out to the center fielder in his first at-bat. The pitch from Carente. That's going to miss for ball 1.
And Wes McQueen show bunt in that at-bat last time out as well, and now we see the corners in for that reason.
Corners will be in a lot today with the speed that the Majors have at the top and the bottom of the order. McQueen takes that one up and in for ball 2 now from Carente. Carente looks in for the sign. Into the windup he goes. The 2-0 home to McQueen is in there for a called strike 1. Count moves to 2 balls and a strike now.